The third dimension is the plane of existence that we are most familiar with. It is the reality in which we experience life through the confines of time, space, and separation. This dimension shapes our perception of reality and profoundly influences how we understand ourselves and the world around us. As humans, we operate within the third dimension, navigating physical experiences, linear time, and a strong sense of individuality. While this dimension provides structure and meaning to our lives, it also imposes limitations on our ability to perceive and connect with realities beyond it. This exploration will take a deep dive into the third dimension, how it constrains human perception through time and space, and how the notion of separation manifests in this plane of existence. We will also discuss examples of how these limitations affect our daily lives and introduce the idea that there is more beyond this physical reality. Human beings experience life through the lens of their physical senses. Our perception of the third dimension is tightly intertwined with the constructs of time and space, two pillars of the physical world. Time allows us to measure change, while space gives us the sense of distance and volume that defines the physical reality we move through. Together, they create the stage on which our lives unfold. In the third dimension, time is experienced linearly. We perceive the past as something that has already occurred, the present as what is happening now, and the future as something yet to be experienced. This linear understanding of time conditions us to think of life as a sequence of events with a clear beginning, middle, and end. We are taught to believe that we are moving forward along this timeline, and as a result, we often feel bound by the constraints of time, racing against it or trying to make the most of it. The concept of time dominates much of human behavior and thought, from schedules and deadlines to aging and death. Space, on the other hand, is the dimension that allows us to perceive the world in three dimensions: length, width, and height. This gives us a sense of location, direction, and physical presence. We understand that objects exist within this space and are separate from one another based on their physical distance. Our movement within this space creates the illusion of freedom, but it also reinforces the idea of separation and limitation. While time and space provide structure and predictability to our existence, they also limit our perception of reality. In the third dimension, we cannot see beyond the immediate moment or sense what lies in the distant future. We are also unable to perceive or interact with anything beyond the physical space we occupy. This restricted perception often causes us to view life as a series of isolated experiences and challenges, leaving us disconnected from a deeper understanding of the universe and our place within it. One of the most defining characteristics of the third dimension is the experience of separation. As we move through life in this physical world, we tend to see ourselves as distinct individual beings. This sense of individuality is reinforced by the way we perceive time and space. We feel separate from other people, from nature, and even from the spiritual aspects of existence. While this perception of separation provides a sense of identity, it also creates feelings of isolation, competition, and fear. In the third dimension, separation manifests in several ways. First, there is the separation of the self from others. From birth, we are conditioned to see ourselves as unique individuals with separate lives, experiences, and desires. We are encouraged to develop a sense of self-identity that is distinct from those around us. While individuality can be empowering, it can also lead to feelings of loneliness and alienation. We often find ourselves caught in a web of comparison, measuring our worth against others and competing for success, attention, or resources. The concept of separation also extends to our relationship with the natural world. In the third dimension, we tend to view nature as something external, something to be controlled or exploited. This disconnect from the environment has profound consequences, both for our well-being and for the health of the planet. Instead of seeing ourselves as part of the natural order, we view ourselves as separate and superior, which has led to environmental degradation and a loss of connection with the earth. Finally, separation in the third dimension extends to our spiritual lives. Many people feel disconnected from their true essence or higher purpose because of the emphasis on materialism and physical reality. We are conditioned to focus on external achievements, possessions, and experiences, which can leave us feeling empty or spiritually unfulfilled. This sense of separation from the spiritual aspect of existence is a hallmark of the third dimension, where the focus on the material world often overshadows the deeper truths of our existence. How these limitations affect daily life. The limitations of time, space, and separation significantly impact our daily lives, often in subtle and unconscious ways. For example, our perception of time can lead to stress and anxiety as we try to keep up with the demands of a fast-paced world. We constantly race against time, whether it's meeting deadlines at work, managing family responsibilities, or pursuing personal goals. The fear of running out of time, growing older, or missing opportunities often drives us to live in a state of constant urgency, leaving little room for relaxation or reflection. Space, too, shapes our daily experiences. The physical distance between people can create emotional distance, making it difficult to form deep connections with others. We are often confined to certain spaces, our homes, offices, or communities, which can limit our exposure to new perspectives and experiences. The physical boundaries of space reinforce the idea that we are separate from one another, leading to feelings of isolation and division. The illusion of separation further impacts our relationships, both with others and with ourselves. In a world that values individual achievement and competition, we may feel pressure to constantly prove ourselves, leading to feelings of inadequacy or inferiority. This sense of separation can also make it difficult to cultivate empathy and understanding, as we view others as competitors or obstacles, rather than as fellow human beings on the same journey. On a deeper level, the perception of separation from our spiritual essence can leave us feeling lost or disconnected. Many people struggle to find meaning and purpose in their lives because they are focused on the external world rather than exploring their inner selves. The limitations of the third dimension make it difficult to access higher states of consciousness, which can lead to a sense of emptiness or spiritual longing. Beyond the third dimension, expanding our perception. While the third dimension shapes much of our experience, it is important to understand that it is not the only reality. There is more beyond the physical world, beyond time, space, and separation. The limitations of the third dimension are just that, limitations of perception, not of reality itself. As we expand our awareness, we begin to realize that there are higher dimensions of existence where time and space are no longer rigid constraints, and the illusion of separation dissolves. In higher dimensions, such as the fourth and fifth dimensions, time is experienced more fluidly, and space is no longer a limiting factor. These dimensions allow for a greater understanding of interconnectedness and unity. The sense of separation that defines the third dimension begins to fade, and we come to realize that we are all part of a larger whole. This shift in perception opens the door to greater levels of consciousness, where we can experience love, compassion, and spiritual connection on a much deeper level. The journey beyond the third dimension is not just about escaping the limitations of the physical world, it is about awakening to the truth of who we are as spiritual beings. By expanding our awareness and moving beyond the constructs of time, space, and separation, we can begin to access the infinite possibilities of higher dimensions and align ourselves with the greater purpose of the universe. In conclusion, while the third dimension provides the structure for our daily lives, it also imposes significant limitations on our perception. Time, space, and separation shape how we experience reality, often leaving us feeling confined or disconnected. However, by exploring the possibility of higher dimensions, we can begin to transcend these limitations and open ourselves to a more expansive and interconnected understanding of existence.